The origin of Susanoo begins with the origin of the world's balance. After visiting the underworld, the creator god Izanagi bathed in a river to purify himself. From the water washing his left eye was born Amaterasu, the radiant sun goddess. From his right eye came Tsukuyomi, the moon god. But when Izanagi washed his nose, Susanoo came into existence. He was one of the 3 precious children, destined to rule the sea plains. But from his birth, his spirit was as turbulent as the ocean he commanded. Mythology is full of heroes, but few have a story as dramatic, as chaotic, or as purely human as Susanoo-no-mikoto. He is the god of the sea and storms. In Japanese lore, he is not just a force of nature, he is the ultimate wild card. A deity who started as a destructive outcast in heaven and ended as a legendary monster slayer on earth. This is the story of his exile, his redemption, and his legendary battle against the ultimate serpent of calamity. This is the story of Susanoo. Susanoo did not want to rule the sea. In his youth, he was defined by grief, wailing constantly for his deceased mother, Izanami. His howling was so violent, it caused green mountains to wither. When he ascended to high heaven to say goodbye to his sister, Amaterasu, she was suspicious of his motives, greeting him in full armor. Susanoo proposed a ritual pledge to prove his sincerity, which he won. He argued it proved his own intent was gentle and pure. This wasn't just a win. In his mind, it was a license for total immunity. Fueled by his victory arrogance, Susanoo's behavior spiraled into a calculated rampage. He began by destroying the sacred rice fields and spreading filth in the halls where the harvest was celebrated. But Amaterasu did something unexpected. She defended him. When the other gods complained, she made excuses. She claimed he was only trying to improve the soil, or that he was simply overwhelmed by drink. She chose love over law, hoping her brother would find his way back to honor. Susanoo took her kindness for weakness. During a sacred weaving ceremony, he committed the ultimate taboo. He took a heavenly piebald horse, flayed it alive from the tail to the head, and hurled it through the roof of the hall. The shock was so great that one of the weaving maidens died from the fright. Amaterasu's heart finally broke. Horrified by the darkness in her brother, she retreated into the heavenly rock cave, sealing the entrance with a massive stone. The sun vanished. The world fell into a cold, eternal night where demons roamed free. The universe was plunged into chaos. It took the combined effort of 8 million deities to lure Amaterasu back out of the cave. The Divine Council's judgment on Susanoo was swift and harsh. He was fined, stripped of his hair and fingernails, and utterly exiled from heaven. Susanoo landed in the province of Izumo, no longer a god of the sky, but a wanderer in the mud. He followed a floating chopstick up the high river until he found an elderly couple weeping over their daughter, Kushinada-hime. They told him of the Yamata no Orochi, a monster so large it covered 8 peaks, with eyes like red cherries and a body that bled into the valleys. It had eaten 7 of their daughters, and now it was coming for the last. Susanoo was no longer the arrogant rebel. He was now a strategist. He transformed the girl into a magical comb and tucked her into his hair. He ordered the couple to brew 8-fold refined sake and place it in 8 vats behind 8 gates. When the Orochi arrived, the smell of the alcohol was irresistible. All 8 heads drank until they collapsed into a stupor. Susanoo drew his sword and began a systematic slaughter, hacking the serpent into 1,000 pieces until the high river turned into a red river. While cutting the beast's tail, his blade struck something hard. He sliced the flesh open to find a divine sword, the Emino Murakumo, no Tsurugi, the sword of the gathering clouds. In a final act of growth, Susanoo did not keep the prize for himself. He sent the sword back to heaven as a gift to his sister, Amaterasu, as a sign of his apology and his change of heart. This blade would eventually be renamed the Kusanagi, the grass cutter, and would become the most sacred treasure of the Japanese emperors. Susanoo built a palace in Izumo for his new wife. As he looked at the clouds rising over the land, he composed a poem. 8 clouds rise. Over the 8-fold fence of Izumo, I build an 8-fold fence for my wife to dwell within. Oh, that 8-fold fence. It was the first poem in the history of the land. The god of the storm had finally found his peace,